Hi folks, I am going to give a little demonstration in Illustrator. I know many of you already know how to use Illustrator, but I want to start from a base level so that nobody's at a disadvantage if you've never used Illustrator before. So the first thing you need to do is to load Illustrator from your Adobe, the little sort of interlocking shape. And then once you open this window, we're going to say Create New. Then our document is going to be 4 inches by 4 inches, so it doesn't matter what it's the width or the height. If yours doesn't say inches here, it might say points or picas, so you just scroll down here until you get inches. You're going to have one artboard. You don't need any bleed. It doesn't matter whether it's CMYK or anything else. You just need to basically pay attention to the size. And then I'm going to say create. Now, I'm going to show you two things. One is, one of the designs I was working on was an octagon. And when I was doing my sketches, it's very hard to draw, a more accurate to scale image of an octagon. So I'm going to show you the Octagon tool here. So we've got the rectangle tool here. So the octagon, or it's the polygon tool. So when you click on this tool, you get this polygon. Okay, now this polygon is 6-sided. You can double click. So I just double clicked right there. And then when I click on the screen, I can change the number of sides. So here I have 8. So again, I'll show you that because it happens a little quickly. I double click on the icon. Then when I go to my screen, I click and I can see what the radius is or how many sides. So I want 6 sides. I say okay, and it gives me this 6-sided polygon. So I'm going to delete that one. Now the reason why I wanted to create this is because to get all of those sides even in my sketchbook was very hard. So now if I want to make this smaller, notice how when I hover over the corner I get this double arrow. So I can go and move this. See the way it distorts it? So I'm going to do Command Z, Command with you guys, it's Control if you're on a PC. So if I hit the Shift key, notice when I change the size, it keeps it constrained so it doesn't distort it. Okay, I'm going to unclick this for a moment and I am going to go and put my sketch in here. So I've already taken a picture of my sketch from my sketchbook, and under the File menu I'm going to go to Place, and I've got the octagons here and I am going to place it in here. It's taking a moment. It's taking a long moment. I'm going to do it again. Maybe something didn't happen quite right. I actually put it on my desktop, which is probably why it really wasn't there. It was a ghost of it. Here we go. Okay, so I've got this icon. So I am going to click, and when I click, it just makes it huge. You have the option. I'm going to do Command Z. I'm going to show you when you place something. You can also place by clicking and dragging, and then I get it to a more reasonable size. And then if I want to make it larger or smaller, I can hover on this corner and make it bigger. Now, again, I want to hold down the Shift key so I don't distort my drawing, even though it's a little bit distorted. So you notice I did this sketch, but I was really having challenges because I don't have the right proportions. But I don't want to just do my whole drawing in Illustrator because then it constrains me. It's not the same freedom. So what I actually did was I went and I created a bunch of octagons and I copied, which is you can go to copy, Command C, and then paste, Command V. So then I can take these and I notice how when I drag it close, I get these guides that show me where it's intersecting, so I can bring them together. And then I can copy both of these and paste both of these and move them around. So what I wanted to do was to get a bunch of these little octagons, and I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, and I'm going to make them smaller, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key again and make them even smaller. And the reason why I'm doing this, and I'll make one more size, is so that I went and I cut them out, and I then started to move around these little shapes and trace them. So that's what you see here. I actually went and traced, so I had a really relative, pretty close approximation. Okay, so that helped me by doing these octagons, printing it out, cutting it out, and then laying it on my piece of paper. See, you can see I have a little throwaway piece of paper here. I was able to make a more accurate sketch. So I am going to move these out of the way now. And whoops, didn't really work, did it? Move these off of the page and put my drawing here. Now I want to scale it up so it fits in this approximate image here. So now my sketch was a little not totally square, but also the other thing is that when you photograph it, it distorts it too. So this is what I'm going to start working from here, and I have my objects still selected there, and I am going to go to Lock Selection. So under Object, Lock Selection, and that will keep it from moving around. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to take my octagon, and I am going to hold down the Shift key to drag it so it's proportional there. And now I'm going to get rid of these other ones because this is the size I want. I want them all to be the same size. So I'm going to copy and paste. Now notice I get that guideline that's showing me the center point. I'm going to move this over here so I'm getting that center point, but I don't know if they're evenly spaced right here. So there's another tool I'm going to use, which is the alignment. Now you can see up here I've got the alignment tools are showing up here, so I can distribute evenly at the center point. So this, see, it says when I hover it says distribute. So now it just shifted that one right over there. I'll do this again so you can see. Watch the middle one and you can see that it distributed them all evenly. Okay, now I'm going to select them, copy, paste. I'm going to group these, put them down here, and I'm also going to click, holding down my Shift key so that I select them all, and then I'm going to group them by object, group. Here I did the Command G. So these are two groups, and I'm going to paste one more down here, and I'm going to go up to object, group again. So now I need this, this, and this to all be distributed evenly horizontally. So I was distributing this direction, but now I need to distribute in the other direction, which is not showing up here because my screen is not wide enough, I assume. Nope, it's still not showing me that distribution. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to my window, and I am going to go to Align. So if I hit Align, it shows me all the different options I have for distribution. I need to distribute top to bottom. Oh, here it is right here. So that here is distributing them so that they are all equally distributed horizontally as well. I'm not convinced that it really did it. Let me hit it one more time. Okay, it did. So one thing I also want to point out, so I can drag this over here, and now I have that alignment tool over here. When you touch something notice how this bar changes. If your bar doesn't show all of these different tools, you may have your window set up differently. So if you go to View, under Window, your workspace. I have mine set at Essentials Classic, which shows me more tools on the toolbar on the left, the toolbar on the right, and what's happening up in the top, which is responsive to what I'm doing on the screen. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to copy these and paste them. And I want to be able to see through them, so I'm going to get rid of this fill that's in here. So if I go to my color palette here and I select the none, that empties the red line inside is none. And I am going to hold down the Shift key to make all of these bigger. And I made them too big. I'm going to zoom in here again. And I am going to make it a little bit smaller. That looks about right. Okay, so I'm looking at this one on the right, and then I have to, whoops, select ungroup, because I need to, so where it said group before, now it says ungroup because I've selected a group. And then I can move this one over and make it touch, and make this touch as well. So now I want to just double check by clicking these three outer boxes, make sure they're all aligned this way, and then make sure that they are evenly distributed. It's shifted just a little. So now I'm going to say group. So now you see what's on the inside isn't necessarily aligned perfectly anymore. So what I'm going to do is, again, ungroup. And I am going to shift this one. And this, actually, I'm going to go back up and ungroup, because what I want to do is get this and this aligned centered, so I can align them centered this way and then group that. I'm going to align this and this centered, and then you can do centered this direction and centered there. Okay, so, and then we are going to, sorry, my mouse is slowing down, and I'm going to align these as well. Okay, so now I group these. You do a lot of grouping and ungrouping. Group, and those are already grouped. So now I can take these three groups and I can align them so that they're all even in the middle, and I can distribute them evenly. Okay, so now I will do the same thing with these. I will take this row here, I'm going to copy it and paste it and put it down here and get it so that it is aligned. And notice how there's that little space, and I move that up, paste this one down. Okay, so that's the basics of that. And now you can see I want to create these triangles here. So I have this line tool here where I can drag this, and it can swivel up or down. So if I hold the Shift key, so that's me putting the Shift key, then it preserves the increments. So I can go, and once I've made a line, I can go up to the direct selection tool, and I can drag it. And again, I hold down the Shift key to get it to align just where I want it to be. So then I can go back to this tool to make a square, and I can put, by holding down the Shift key, by holding down the Shift key, I can make a perfect square and then start playing with adding other elements. I'm going to stop now